Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode here on European Confessions. The following story that you're going to be listening to, it was sent to me by one of our brother. So this is the translation of that message that was sent to me. The translation reads like this. Hello, Brother Nashi, how are you? Can you please post my own story as hidden identity? So I joined Satanism when I was still in boarding school, when I was in Form 6. That was when I joined Satanism. There was this other teacher who was stationed at our school, and her duty is to make other kids to join Satanism, like she did to me by sleeping with her. And after I had joined Satanism, then I was permanently stationed in Zim, but I was then given another mission. I was told that when I would come to South Africa, I was going to work for this other woman because she is my handler. She is my South African handler. She is a South African Venda speaking woman. She came and she collected me on the other side of the border, and as she was driving back into her country, we were not stopped by the police, because in our kingdom we do not respect any borders at all, because the world belongs to the devil himself. Don't you know that the devil also is the son of God? In fact, the devil is the first son that God had. The only problem that happened in heaven was that when God favored his second born, who is Jesus Christ, then there was a big battle that happened, because the devil said that since I am the firstborn, this throne of God must be mine when the time will come for me to inherit the throne of God. But then God refused and decided to give Jesus Christ the throne. That was when they said that the devil rebelled. So God then gave the devil the earth and said, this is now your inheritance. So everything that happens in this world, the devil is the one who is in control. So when I arrived here in South Africa, then we started with the mission. I was then told that there was this other pastor, a young South African pastor, who is still rising up. This pastor, he is not yet well known, but he is going to be one of the biggest pastors who is ever going to come out of South Africa. In the next coming years, he will start to perform a lot of miracles after the full possession would have happened. So this pastor, they had been following him ever since he had started his ministry, and they saw that he was the perfect candidate. So for you to be the perfect candidate, if you are a pastor that is running a church, all that they want is a man who is always chasing after women, who is always sleeping with women, especially those women that will be in his present worship, because those ones, they do control the flow of the spirit that will be flowing in and out of that church. So if he is sleeping with the women that will be in the present worship team, then he will be a candidate. And if he is sleeping with married women that are also coming to his church, then this make him to be much better. But as for this young South African pastor, they found out that there is too much greed, the love of money that he has, it is just unimaginable. So then they thought of recruiting him. Then some satanic agents, then they approached him and they told him that even here in South Africa, there is the branch of Satanism that is here that operates behind the curtains. So he was told that he had been chosen amongst all the many pastors that have their ministries here in South Africa. He is the one who was chosen to be part of our satanic kingdom. So he gladly accepted. So my role that brought me into South Africa, the duty that I was supposed to perform, there is this other hospital where one of our satanic agents was supposed to give birth, and I was supposed to take that newborn baby, and we were supposed to take that baby out of the hospital and go and give this baby to that pastor so that the initiation can be done. And after we would have done that, we were supposed to return back with that baby back to the hospital. So this was very easy, because when we went to that hospital to see this woman, that Venda speaking woman, my handler, she was the one who was walking in front of me. I do not have any passport, I do not have anything, but I can go into some places that even your South Africans cannot be allowed to go into that place, because we do not respect borders and we do not respect anything. So when we arrived at that hospital, we just went past through the security, and they didn't even bother to ask us anything because of the spiritual powers that we had. We were on the hospital premises. We then walked to the maternity ward, where we were met by this other matron. So as for that matron at that hospital, she is our agent. She is our satanic agent who controls everything, and in her body she has a lot of demons. So what she does is that I want people to understand the way that these spirits operate. They usually wait at the admission block, where everyone that will enter into that hospital, if you are sick, you have to go through that admission process. So those spirits, 24 hours, they are always there waiting. And if someone arrives at that hospital, and if we see that this person is a sinner and this person has the potential to give his or her life to Jesus Christ, we make sure that by the time that this person would be admitted into the hospital, then the spirit of death will be directed to that person, so that the person can never be given the chance to survive and to die. And each and every time when one is taken into the hospital, and you need to be thankful if you are admitted into the hospital, then you get discharged, because there are a lot of things that happen in the hospitals. So this is what we do. Even if you are a Christian and if you have been causing a lot of disturbances in our kingdom, once you get admitted into the hospital, we know that this is the time for us to destroy you, because when one is sick, when your flesh is weak, then your soul is weak as well. And when your flesh and your soul is weak, this is the perfect time for us to destroy you, because when one is sick, they cannot even pray for themselves. So we then invite the spirit of death to take the soul of that person that would have caused a lot of problems in our kingdom. The moment that you bring in your loved one into the hospital, from the time that they are admitted to the time that they either die or they will survive, you know that there will be some spirits that will be fighting against them. So at that same hospital, like I told you, there was this other woman who is also a satanic agent. So we have different departments. I am working in a different department. This woman, what she is supposed to do is that she has to give birth, and after she would have given birth, then the baby that she would have given birth to will be used for rituals. Yes, there are women who are satanic agents that only wait to fall pregnant when it is time for some rituals to be performed. Then their babies will be used for some rituals. So after she had given birth, we were then notified by the matron. We then went straight to that maternity ward. We then collected the baby, and we walked out of that hospital. No one even bothered to ask me and that woman who is my handler, what exactly were we doing? Where were we going with this newborn baby? Then we went out and we drove straight to that pastor's house, and there were some satanic agents who are going to be his handlers for the rest of his life. So they were the ones that were initiating him. As for me, because I am of a lower rank, I was not allowed to enter into that pastor's house for the initiation ceremony, and I do not know exactly what happened because of my lower rank. And after the baby was used for the initiation ceremony, the baby was then called. We then returned the baby to the mother, and I do not know exactly what happened afterwards. All that I knew was that I performed my mission. The mission that brought me to South Africa was to bring out this baby and to return it back into that hospital. After this mission was completed, I thought that I was supposed to return back home, as I had been told by my handler, who is back in Zim. But I was then informed and I was told that I was supposed to stay at this woman's house, and I am still staying at her house because she is my handler here in South Africa. I was told that there is another mission that I am supposed to complete whilst I am here in South Africa. So let me tell you exactly how I was initiated into Satanism when I was still in boarding school, because I started going to boarding school from primary school. When I was still in grade 6, I was always going to boarding school. When I was now in Form 6, about to finish my high school, that was when I started to have a relationship with my teacher, My teacher was also my coach because I was in the volleyball team. Me and my teacher, we started to have a sexual relationship. Little did I know that she was a satanic agent. So one day she called me into her office. When I entered into her office, I saw that there were a lot of skulls, human skulls, your baby skulls, your adult skulls. And when I saw everything, I started to shiver. And when I saw everything, I was really scared. My teacher then told me that I was not supposed to be scared, but I saw a lot of crawling things, your spiders, things that were really scary. Those things, they started crawling out of the human skulls that were all over her office. Then they came and they entered into my body. Then they started to possess me. Then I saw this spirit that I can't even describe. All that I can say is that the spirit that I saw, it was in form of a black smoke. It came, then it entered into my heart. It was really painful when that spirit was entering into my heart. And those crawling creatures, they had made me to vomit. They made me to vomit the life force that was given to me by God, because the moment that the sperm will meet the egg, that is when God will breathe into that new living being the spirit of life. So the devil made me to vomit that spirit of life that was given to me by God when I was still in my mother's womb. Then the devil gave me his own life force. So that is what operates in my body right now. And when it connected itself with my heart, it was really painful. That is how I got initiated, but the ceremony was not yet complete. I was told that I had to sacrifice my parents. So when the schooling holiday came, we then went back home. So when we were returning back to school, that was when my parents had an accident and they both passed away. When my parents were about to have an accident, I saw that spirit coming out of my body, and it went and it possessed my father as he was driving. He kept on overspeeding. My father kept on overspeeding until he had an accident. Just a few seconds before that fatal accident, I saw an angel that came and snatched me out of that car. That is how I survived. So after that, the angel then returned me back into that vehicle that had crashed, and both of my parents were dead. And I stayed in the hospital for many months, but I just had some fake injuries. The angel just gave me some fake injuries. Then I was taken to the hospital. This is how I got initiated into Satanism. Dear listeners, right there was a message that was sent to me by our dear brother. I hope that you understood this translation. Yo.